Hello, I'm Cassia Faye Hayden. Welcome to my channel. This is actually a remake of a video that I made earlier in the week because somehow it got deleted. And I think the original was much better, especially seeing as how my hair is just gross today. But I had made kind of emotional emergency video on Wednesday afternoon because I had made it to the soup kitchen, and when I got there, there was a volunteer there who not a volunteer, a staff member there she's there every time I come in. So I know she's not a volunteer. She's actual staff. She gets paid to work there. As far as I know, I'm fairly certain of it. Blonde hair, glasses. But anyway, so I was in there and I was kind of complaining about the snow because I was kind of worried about how I was going to get home if it ended up snowing too thick, or if it stuck to the ground and I couldn't get my cart through the sidewalk to get home. And I was also worried about my concern of my health issues when it snows, because when it rains and when it snows, when the weather's just cold and bad and not pleasant, it severely affects my body to the point where I can't really do much afterwards. And then I was actually also talking about, my financial situation, because, I mean, I live off of $600 a month, and, it barely covers rent. I mean, I pay my rent, I pay my phone bill, I pay for cat food during the month, and after that it's gone. It's all gone. And I have to play video games to make extra money to do my fidget videos for you guys, or come up with supplies for the self-care videos for, like, I know I need a yoga mat, and there's a few other things that I'm trying to get a hold of to make the channel better. But anyway, so I was in there, and you can go if you want to, Kelly, but please don't walk where I don't want you to walk, okay? You can go. Leave my glass alone. But anyway, so I was in there, and this woman, she actually started, like, interrogating me like I'm some kind of criminal or something, like, telling me that it doesn't matter. Please don't itch yourself over my drink. Thank you very much. Telling me that it's unacceptable that I don't work even though I'm disabled, quite severely disabled actually. I have fibromyalgia and lupus, which are pretty severe disabilities within themselves to begin with, just to begin with. And then I have a knee that my stop it. I said stop. You're shaking my camera. And then I have my knee, the cartilage is disintegrating, so it gives out on me like 7 or 8 times, sometimes more, sometimes 12 or more times a day. I'll just be walking or standing and it'll just collapse on me without any warning, because the cartilage is disintegrating. My knee is going. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And I wear a knee brace to the soup kitchen, so it's not like they don't know that there's something wrong with it. And I use my cane, and frequently they see me struggle to stand up. Sometimes I can stand up just fine. Sometimes I have to, like, use all of the strength in my arms to pull myself up out of my chair. And sometimes I can walk with the cane just fine back and forth, and sometimes I'm limping really bad, and sometimes it gives out while I'm in the process of going from one point to another in the soup kitchen. They see this. And then on top of it, I have, the problems with my wrist. And like I said, I do wear my wrist brace to the soup kitchen. They know that I need to be wearing it. They know that there's something severely wrong with my hand, that I'm not supposed to be using it. If you don't stop, Callie, stop. Get down. Hold on a minute. Get down. Thank you. She's a good girl, but for some reason, today, she is being very annoying. Leave my tripod alone. Okay? Leave it alone. She's been trying to steal my breakfast all morning, and I still haven't gotten the chance to finish eating it because she won't let me. But anyway, so this woman was like, back to the rest of my health issues. I also have kidney and liver failure. So I shouldn't even be getting out of bed. It's why my pallor is so very pale. Because I'm sick. It's why I have deep bags underneath my eyes. Because I'm very, very sick. I am not a healthy woman. And so this woman was insisting that my illnesses are an excuse to not work. Like I'm basically just lazy and just don't want to work. And going on and on and on. And I'm sitting there explaining to her my disabilities. I mean, you explain these disabilities to anybody who wants to care, and they're like, "Oh my God, yeah, you shouldn't be coming out here every 3 days a week. That's not good for you. No wonder you can't function the whole rest of the day when you get home. I don't know how you function to make it here." That's how someone would normally react when I tell them all the things that I have wrong with me. And that's not even all the things. That's just, the ones that have to do with me getting there and back. and the whole concept of why I can't really work. And so I explain these things to her, even though they're very, very evident while I'm in there, every time I'm in there. Everyone can tell there's some serious health problems with me. They have to carry my tray so I can get it to my table to make sure I don't spill my food, because I can barely walk and my hand doesn't work. So they all know. And yet this woman has given me shit for not having a job. As if my disabilities are not reason enough to not work. If you don't leave my tripod alone, I'm gonna spank you. Stop it. Leave it alone. So, I tried my very best to explain to this woman over and over and over and over and over again that I am just too disabled to be working. And that's why I'm on disability, because I'm too disabled to be working. And that if I were to, and she's like, well, you don't have to tell people what you can and can't do and what your health problems are when you try to get a job. You're supposed to lie on the application and in the interview to make sure you get the job. And I'm like, one, that's illegal. That's automatic termination for lying on your application if they find out, which you're going to find out the very next day that you end up coming in for work, because they're going to see how much you can and can't physically do on your first day there. They're gonna automatically realize that they hired a cripple and the cripple lied about it. You can't do that. It's not morally right, and it's kind of illegal, and it's grounds for automatic termination. If you don't stop it, I told you, stop. Sorry, she's in a mood today. She's not usually like this. Stop. So, but this woman was desperate to break me down. Desperate. to do anything in her power. My hair is driving me nuts. Bear with me. I am just going to put it up because it is... I'm just going to fix it real quick because it is driving me nuts. I can't stand that piece just hanging out right there, making me look like I never brush my hair. But I didn't get the chance to do my hair today. I haven't gotten around to it. But anyway, so this woman was going on and on and on, desperately trying to break me. Trying to push and push and push that there's no excuse for why I couldn't work a job, even though I know my limits. I know every time I go to the soup kitchen, I'm already pushing past my limits. And if I were to try to get a job, I'd be there for a day, and I'd already be fired within that first day because my body physically wouldn't be able to do the job. I mean, I know I wouldn't be able to do it. And it wouldn't be fair for, I honestly don't think it would be fair for the employer to be led on to believe that they've hired somebody that can do a job that physically can't. And the people who were passed up on that job to have it be given to me that can perform the job, it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be right. And, you know, it's not that I don't want to work. It's that I know my limits. I know my physical limits. I know what I can and I cannot do. Because believe me, I've pushed past them as far as I possibly can on every occasion that I physically could. And it's why I don't work. I have tried to keep jobs. I've tried. I've tried to get jobs after losing jobs because of my disabilities. And I've never gotten hired because of it. So, I mean, I've tried. So, it has nothing to do with needing to lie to an employer to get a job. I can't do the job. I'm too sick to do the job. I'd be fired within the first week, if not the first day. So, and it's not because I'm lazy, because it's not a lazy issue. When I have the health to get things done around the house, I'm going and going and going and going and going until I literally drop. But, you know, there's just days where just making it to the soup kitchen and back is too much for my body. So, which is most of the time that I go there. I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, which for me is kind of early, because I have ADHD and fibromyalgia. If you understand what that means I'm in too much physical pain to sleep at night. And on top of it, my mind won't shut up to let me sleep. So when the cats are getting into shit all night, or the neighbor kid downstairs is screaming all night, I'm not getting no sleep. I'm already in too much physical pain, and my mind's already reeling for that added sensory stuff to allow me sleep. So I get, at most, on a good night, 3 hours of sleep on a good night before going to the soup kitchen. Before I can even leave, I have to wake up, I have to get up, and then I have to give Ash his pill in the morning, which sometimes is a struggle because even though he wants the pill, it's hard for him to swallow the pill, so it sometimes just coughs right up. Like, sometimes it goes down just fine. Sometimes it's like 3 or 4 times that I have to shove it back down his throat. And that's a process. And then I have to feed the other cats, feed all of the cats. So that's me tripping over every single cat in the house while they're trying to run underneath my feet, all the way into the other room where the cat food is, grabbing a scoop, tripping over every single cat in the house on the way to the one thing full of their dishes, their kibble dishes, and trying to get them out of my way so I can get to the dishes, and then trying to get them out of the dishes so I can put the food in the dishes. And I have to do this 4 times, back and forth, with them tripping me, laying in their dishes, blocking the path to their dishes, 4 times before I can even get ready for me to leave. The night before, I pack all the stuff that I need to go over there, and they complain about how much stuff I bring over there too. So it's not just the fact that I don't work. The woman complains about the fidget toys that I bring too. So like I'm immature or childish or something's wrong with me because I bring toys there. I don't feel safe at the soup kitchen, and for a multitude of reasons, and she didn't help on Wednesday to make me feel any more safe by making me feel like I had to defend my disability. so so yeah, I have all these fidget toys that I bring with me, a bag full of fidget toys, and then I have to have my insulin, my tester, my insulin log, a book to read to keep me entertained. And the more fidget toys I have, the less likely it is that I'm going to have a panic attack while I'm there. And you know she did kind of cause a panic attack. I think I did my best to hide it pretty well, but she caused a pretty severe panic attack while I was there. Because I don't feel like I should have to defend my illness to anyone. I don't feel like I should have to explain why I'm on disability instead of working to anyone, let alone someone who works at a soup kitchen and should know better, because they work at a soup kitchen, that's not something you go there on when it comes to people eating there. I mean, disabled people aren't the only people that go to the soup kitchen. And when homeless people or drug addicts or sex offenders are questioned about why they aren't working, they get pissed off. And they actually should be working. Now, a disabled person, we have an actual reason why we aren't working. The reason why we have to go to places like that to afford to eat is because we don't make enough money and we don't make enough food to be able to survive on. We don't. It's just not enough money in the government funding to make sure we can afford to live. So we have to make exceptions and do things like that in order to survive. We don't have a choice. So that's what we do. We find ways to take care of our home and take care of our family because we're not given enough. And if we physically could Callie, stop it. If we physically could afford to work, believe me, we would be doing it, because you make so much more money working without being on disability, working a part-time job, just part-time, minimum hours, minimum pay. You make more in a month than you make on Social Security. We would be doing it if we could afford to. But unfortunately, my limitations don't even allow me to work the minimum hours for part-time. I physically am not capable of working the minimum hours for part-time. That is why I would be fired, because I can't work even minimum wage. And if I can't work minimum wage and someone hires me to do the bare minimum that the minimum hours that I can do, I wouldn't be making enough money for it to be worth me actually being able to lose my income. And if I try to work on top of it to try to get those maybe 2, 3, 4 hours a week I'd be able to get in with my health issues, I would lose my income just for trying. And I wouldn't get enough out of it to be able to make up for the amount of money I'd be losing. So I'd be killing myself trying to do a job that I shouldn't be doing, even just because I want to, just because I want to feel like a normal human being. I'd be damn near killing myself trying to push myself to be doing a job that I know I can't do, despite the fact that I would really want to be just like everybody else, just normal and be able to work. And then I'd get fired because I wouldn't be able to afford to do more hours without putting myself in the hospital. So, and then on top of it, for trying to do it, I'd lose my income. So none of these things help me. None of these things help me. There's no way around me trying to work and actually getting anything out of it. All it does is take away from me. So but yeah, so there's the cats. And there's preparing for the day, the day ahead, and then I've got to get dressed. I've got to put my braces on. I've got to put my jacket on. And then I've got to haul my cart because my scooter isn't working right now. I'm kind of getting sick of people asking me if I'm homeless because I'm using a cart because my scooter isn't working. The things you deal with when you're poor. But then I have to haul my cart down the steps, which is already difficult. I haven't even started the walk to the soup kitchen yet. I have to walk down the steps, get the cart down the steps to get to the driveway, which is a process and a very big strain on my wrist and my knee. Already before I even left my yard. I've already strained my energy feeding the cats. I've already strained my energy trying to rush to get ready to leave. And then I'm straining my knee and my wrist trying to get my cart down the stairs. And then I gotta walk all the way to the soup kitchen, which sometimes is good weather, sometimes it's not. If it's bad weather, it's going to affect my body. So I get there. Then I gotta wait for them to open, which, isn't much of a problem because I try to sit and I read and, try to keep myself relaxed and entertained. And then I get in there and there's this whole table full of women who don't like me. And I'm not really sure why they don't like me, but they have decided they don't like me. And one of the women that sits at the table actually tried to kill me by taking parts off of my scooter. And she bragged about it, and she got away with it. And then she sent me, she showed up at my house. I wasn't downstairs at the time when she did this, but I know it was her because she signed the note. So, yeah, so she found out where I live and put a note in my scooter in an envelope with one of the missing pieces from my scooter that she removed from my scooter to try to kill me. And I still have the piece. I was so pissed off that I tore up and threw away the note. And this was months ago, so there ain't no recovering it at this point. But, so, yeah, so, the note said, "Don't come back, Pat." And this isn't my stepdad, Pat. This is, this woman, Pat, that goes to the soup kitchen. So, she tried to kill me, bragged about it, proved it by leaving shit in my scooter as, a threat not to come back. Like she's gonna do something to me again. I swear to God, stop it. Like she's gonna do something to me if I come back. And I do find it convenient that my scooter stopped working shortly after I started coming back, but I don't think it was her that did anything to it. I think um, the winter, it being outside all winter, screwed up the batteries. That's what me and Sam think it is. We're fairly certain that's what it is. The scooter was just outside all winter and it screwed up the batteries. Um, but so yeah, so I'm already stressed out of fear and you know concern and paranoia because of the crazy chick that sits in the table at the table across from me and her group of friends who all insult me the whole time I'm there and laugh about it and think that I can't hear them the whole time I'm there. So, and then people get me talking and then I can't stop and that stresses me out because the talking at the soup kitchen, because I already feel unsafe to begin with. I'm already feeling um very stressed out just being there. Um like I can't stop because it's a mix between the ADHD and the PTSD and it wears me out because I I want to stop talking, but I can't. And it makes me very, very sick. It drains all of my energy and I can't stop. And the more stressed out I am, the more I talk, the more stressed out I am. And the more stressed out I am, the more I talk. So it's like a vicious cycle that just, I can't stop. So I have all of those fidgets to try to get me to stop talking. Fucking flies. Um, um, and the book to try to get me to stop talking. So I'm trying to focus on my reading and my fidget toys and, try to just deal. But, so anyway, after I've been there for a while, eating my breakfast, eating my lunch, and then I start packing up to get ready to go, by the time I'm like not even halfway home, I'm already so exhausted just from the walk there, sitting there with all the stressors in the room, just there myself, just being there. And then because of the PTSD caused by the crazy lady who tried to kill me and got away with it, and her friends. So, so walking there and going through all the shit that I have to do to even leave the house in the morning and walking there and the stress from being there, by the time I'm leaving, like more less than halfway home, I'm already collapsed over the cart, completely drained of energy. My knee continuously giving out on me. Um, like barely even awake. Just the only thing propelling the cart forward is the wheels, the weight of my body completely supported on it. Where like my face isn't even up. My weight is completely on the grocery cart. Like I'm basically laying on it, and just barely moving my feet. I'm just so exhausted that the only thing keeping me still going in the direction of home is the fact that the sidewalk is kind of, you know, it's a path. You know, it's like the lines on the road. Even when you're half asleep, you still know they're there. But yeah, so by the time I get home, I'm damn near dead. I'm so exhausted that I don't even know how I make it up the steps. I get to the door, I damn near piss myself on my way in the house to the bathroom, and then somehow I gotta get all of my stuff upstairs so people don't steal it. So somehow I manage to drag myself down the stairs and then back up the stairs and down the stairs and then back up the stairs to get my cart and my stuff. Which the way I just described me getting home on the sidewalk should have explained how tired I already was before getting home and then having to haul my stuff up on top of it. By the time I'm home, just from sitting down and eating food, which is somehow, if you can make it to the soup kitchen 3 times a week, then you can do a job. You can work. Okay? So, the minute everything's actually in my house, I sit down. The intent flies. Sorry. So, the intent is to just sit for like a minute and then get up and maybe start my dishes and maybe start cleaning the house and get some stuff done around here. The intent is to actually sit down for 1 minute just to rest my legs. Just to rest my legs. My legs, not all of me. Not my head, my legs. Just want to rest my legs so I can get stuff done. 4 hours go by. I sit down. I wake up. 4 hours later. I have no warning and no intent to fall asleep. It just happens. No warning. I wore myself out so much. And this is every single time I go to the soup kitchen. 3 times a week. So 3 times a week I'm wasting my entire day, which could have been used cleaning or doing the dishes, on trying to make sure I have 3 extra meals a week so I can afford food. But I'm an asshole for not working because my disabilities are not an excuse to not work. So it's not that I don't want to get stuff done around here. It's not that I want to sleep all day. This isn't something people like me want. It's not something we ask for. It's not a vacation. Sleeping all day isn't fun for us. Being stuck. Stop it! Sorry. Hey, I said stop. Okay? Stop. You're shaking my tripod. Okay. So, people think that we're lazy, that we don't want to get up, that we're sitting on the couch or on the bed or the futon all day because we want to, because we don't want to do anything, because we're lazy. That's not the case. Being stuck in bed 24/7 is a nightmare, especially when you have ADHD and OCD, because your mind is screaming all of the things that you need to get done in the house and all of the things that you need to get done in general and not getting done. And you can't do anything about it because you're stuck in bed because your body won't work. And, you know, I during the days that I go to the soup kitchen, I fall asleep. I wake up. I try to move. I try to pull myself up. I pass out again. And then I wake up and I try to move again. I try to pry myself up and I fall asleep again. The whole day is gone. Me fighting my body, trying to wake up so I can get stuff done. And it won't let me wake up. It will not let me wake up because I have used all of my energy just getting there and back. And it is not fun for me. And I don't understand why people think that this is so fun for us disabled people. Like it's somehow a vacation. Like we enjoy not being able to move. Because, yeah, maybe for someone who does work all the time, maybe that would be nice for them to be able to sit and relax and have some downtime. Yes, a good medium between the two is good for you. I get that. And I would like to have a nice medium between getting stuff done and clean and taken care of during the day and me resting. But I don't get that either because my body doesn't cooperate with me. So, um, yeah, we don't enjoy it. And and already our minds are already sitting there screaming at us. We have to fight these thoughts on a daily basis, telling ourselves over and over and over again that it's not our fault, that we can't do anything about it, that we're just when our body passes out like that without our intention and without any warning, we're just recovering. That we're not being lazy, we're not failures, because we feel that way. We used to be able to do the things normal people can do, and we can't anymore. And no one but other disabled people really fully understand what that feels like, how humiliating and mentally disabling that is for us. It causes a lot of emotional damage knowing that we can't do the things that we used to be able to do, that normal people can do, and then judge us because we can't do them. We hate beyond any measure that we can't do those things anymore. It's a nightmare for us. We want to be mobile. We want to be healthy. We want to be normal. We want to be able to work a 40-hour workday and then be able to sit down and be like, oh, I'm tired. And just get the house clean still and get the food made and the animals taken care of. And if you have kids, the kids taken care of. We want to do those things, but our bodies don't let us. Our bodies don't even let us live a normal, lazy life. Our bodies don't let us even take care of the house, let alone work and take care of the house. Our bodies don't let us do the bare minimum of what we need to do to keep our homes nice. I mean, I can't stand how gross my house is. I'm not going to lie. I can't stand how dirty my house is because all winter long I'm stuck in bed and I physically can't get up to get it clean. And every day I have to tell myself, because those thoughts are always there in the background telling me I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I'm pathetic, because I can't do the things I want to get done. Every day I'm fighting those thoughts and those feelings. And stupid flies. And I mean, there's a lot I have to backtrack on to get the house clean that I still don't have the physical energy to get done. But now that it's spring, I'm trying my very best to get it done. And my body is just like, nope, you're not doing it today. Nope, you're not doing it today. And I'm like, but I want to get it done. I want my house clean. So, yeah. I mean, and every day we've got to do our best. And this isn't just a video about the people who judge us. This is also for being disabled. This is also a video for those of us who are disabled and do tell ourselves those negative things that we know aren't true, but in our minds, in our hearts, we, in a way, still feel like they are true because we want to be what we were. We want to be like everybody else. We want to be able to do what everybody else can. I get it, because I'm like that too. But this is not only to educate those people who judge us like that, which I don't think really is gonna do much good for them, because honestly, if they don't want to learn, they're not going to. And they only judge us like that because they don't care to know. They don't care to understand us. They don't want to. They want to look for the flaws in us because it's not about us. It's about them. They hate us because, I mean, I don't know why they hate us, but whatever the reason is, it's not about us. It's about them. They don't want to understand. But we need to understand that that isn't about us. And what they are saying and thinking about us isn't true. You know, we need to understand that. I needed to understand that when she was saying that to me. Even while I was telling myself that, I still deep down needed to get myself to listen. I was thinking it, but I was also thinking that she was right, because I want to be able to do those things. So, we need to tell ourselves every day that it's not our fault. We need to tell ourselves that we are doing the best we can, that we are recovering, that we are pushing as hard as possible, and not to push too hard, because that'll put us in a flare and make us more sick and make even less stuff get done, even though the intent of pushing ourselves too far is to get more done. And I am guilty of this. I will push myself until I break, trying to get more done. And in the end, I know it's true, but I keep doing it anyway. I know that in the end, it ends up causing me to have more stuff not done, because I've pushed myself to the point where I'm taking more time recovering than I actually got done pushing myself too far. But I'm still guilty of still doing it anyway. Pushing myself way too far, trying to get everything done as much as I possibly can, because I want it done. And that's another thing we've got to work on. That's one thing I've got to work on. And I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing it. I'm probably going to still continue every time I have any amount of energy, just push myself until I break, trying to get stuff done. But we got to be positive with ourselves. We've got to be respectful of our own mental health. We've got to take care of ourselves and stop telling ourselves that we're losers and pathetic, and that it's our fault things aren't getting done. And we've got to stop taking our frustration out that it's not getting done on ourselves, and our frustration that we're not like we were, that we don't have the health that we used to have, or can do the things that we used to be able to do, and the things that other people can do. We have to stop hurting ourselves mentally because of that. And I'm not saying that we're gonna not ever gonna have moments when we're doing that. Because, like I said, I'm one of them, and I was definitely feeling it that day. The first version of this video that I accidentally deleted, I was so emotional about it that I burst into tears. My face turned red, and I was talking through sobs. And that's not good for us, to let people like that affect us like that. It's not good for me. It's not good for you guys. It's not good for us. And I know that, and I know you guys know that. We know that we shouldn't be judging ourselves. We know we shouldn't let the judgments of others affect us. We know, but it's going to affect us every once in a while, and we got to do our best to just tell ourselves that it's not true as much as we can. People are going to judge us. People are going to be disrespectful and rude and hurtful towards us with our disabilities. And yeah, I feel that woman should not have a job there, but you get that everywhere you go. Yeah, she has no right working in a soup kitchen and talking to people that are going there for food, especially cripples, in that way. There's no excuse for her behavior. And yeah, I really do feel that she should be fired for it. But at the same time, you get that everywhere you go. There are going to be judgmental people like that everywhere you go, who just don't care to care, who just don't care to understand. And no matter how much it hurts to hear it, and how much it pisses us off to hear it, because I know it's a mix with between the two. I mean, it's not just pain and it's not just anger. It's a mix of both, because it pisses you off that how dare anybody judge what they don't know because they're not experiencing it. And how dare anybody judge you when you're doing so much more than they even understand, beyond what you're physically capable of on a daily basis, just trying to get through the day, get things done. I know. I get it. I was both angry and upset and hurt and trying desperately not to let those thoughts and feelings in myself when she said that to me. It didn't help either that directly afterwards, there was this creeper that before she started in on me had come in, um, and sat down at my table, and like there's plenty of empty tables throughout the whole kitchen. Um, there were 3 tables that had people at them, and there were 6 empty tables, 6 of them. Um, and my table only had one person at it, me. But there were 6 empty tables, and most of the tables that had people at them didn't have full tables to begin with. So there was anywhere else he could have sat. This complete stranger who, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt when he first sat down, because, you know, you try. So, um, so he comes in and he sits down right next to me, and I can feel him staring at me the whole time he's sitting there. The whole time, like boring through my clothes, like staring. The creeper stare. You know the creeper stare. Any woman knows the creeper stare. So, yeah, fun. So after this woman started in on me, he starts going, "Where do you live?" I'm like, far enough away to where I might not make it home, but that I shouldn't be walking with a crippled knee that far. And he's like, "Well, where do you live?" And I'm like, "I'm not going to tell you where I live." And then he's like, "Well, where do you live?" The third time he's asked me, "Where do I live?" 3 times where I tried my best to evade him politely. And I'm like, "I'm not going to tell you where I live. I don't know you. I'm not going to tell you where I live. It's not safe for a woman to tell a complete stranger where she lives." So he starts freaking out, screaming that how dare I not tell him where I live? How dare I not want to tell him where I live? And he's going on and on and on and on and on about it for 20 minutes. Okay, any good man asks you where you live and you tell them you don't want to tell them because you don't know them, they'd be like, "Okay, I understand that. I respect that. You got to be safe." Any good man. A man doesn't flip out that you don't want to tell them where you live because you don't know them, unless their intent was to do something to you. So my initial feeling of him creeping me out by him staring at me while I'm sitting there trying to read and eat my breakfast was completely justified after he started freaking out and then tried to get the staff to agree with him that I was wrong for not wanting him to know where I live. Like 20 minutes, him going on and on and on, screaming at me, screaming at talking, trying to get the staff to agree with him. And I'm sitting there going, "I'm not going to tell a complete stranger where I live." I've been stalked. I've been raped. I'm not going to tell a complete stranger where I live. It's not going to happen. But while I'm trying to like point that out, and the staff is sitting there going, "Yeah, I understand. I'm right there with you. You want to be safe. That's completely understandable. You shouldn't tell a complete stranger where you live." I'm sitting there thinking, there is no reason for this guy to freak out like this. unless he's looking to do something to me. Like, his whole intent to find out where I live or to try to get me in his car is to try to do something to me. There was no reason for him to specifically choose my table. I mean, I didn't think anything of it, really. I thought it was strange when he sat down, but until he started boring his eyes into me, I didn't really think anything of it. I thought, whatever, it's a table. Whatever. Maybe he didn't want to walk all the way back to the other tables that were directly behind my table. I don't know. So, like I said, I gave it the benefit of the doubt. But then he started boring his eyes into me like he was trying to eat me with his eyes. And then he started flipping out that I wouldn't tell him where I live. I feel completely justified that I didn't want to tell him where I live, because it seems to me like he did not have very, very good intentions for his reasons of finding out where I live, because why else would he freak out? He did thankfully move after I pointed out that that no woman in her right mind would tell a complete stranger where she lives. And that it's kind of screwed up that he's pissed at me that I won't tell him where I live. When he's a complete stranger asking a woman who's alone and small and crippled in the soup kitchen where she lives. Right. Like, I mean, I'm this tall and using a cane and having a grocery cart to hold me up with wrist braces on, and he's flipping out that I don't trust complete strangers to know where I live. I'm an easy target. Fuck no, I'm not going to tell people where I live. But anyway, so yeah, that was my day on Wednesday, and like I said, I just really want you guys to think more positively when you can. Do your best. I mean, I know those thoughts are going to get through to you every once in a while and fuck up your day. I'm sorry. I know it happens. I know some days we just can't control it and it just hurts us. And I want all of us. I want you guys. I want me. I mean, I'm not just telling you guys to do your best to think more positive. I need to do it too. I need to stop letting those negative thoughts and feelings that people like that put on us, and that we feel anyway every day to begin with without them putting that on us, to not penetrate us and hurt us. We need to do our best to think positive and not let those feelings get to us, and keep telling us we're doing the best we can. But anyway, I think I've expressed that enough in this video. And thankfully I didn't cry this time, because it's not fresh, because it was like, that was on Wednesday, and I was just about to upload it when I realized that somehow I managed to delete it. So it's now Saturday on my Saturday video, and I'm now filming on Saturday for you guys, which I never do. I try to film it on Friday or earlier so I can get it edited and posted all in the same day. So you actually get it on Saturday. But I wanted to, before I let you guys go, I wanted to let you guys know that I have a yoga mat coming. I have a drum coming for my meditation videos, because you guys seem to like it more rather than doing guided meditation off of a device. You guys seem to like it more when I basically just wing it. So I figured the drum will help us, just wing it. Just wing the meditation. There's a reason why there's a spoon in my hand. I'm still eating my breakfast. Delicious grapefruit. But Yeah, I'm not just sitting here randomly with a spoon in my hand, like la 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 la. La la. It's a pretty spoon though. It's so pretty. Isn't it pretty? I love my spoons. But anyway, there's that. I do have more balloons coming. Some punch balloons. I have all kinds of nice stuff coming for my future videos. I kind of went a little bit crazy this month because um we actually had enough cat food at Sam's house this month to where I didn't need to buy a bag of cat food for him because he didn't need to pick up the bag of cat food from last month until like a week ago. So so we have enough cat food that I didn't need to buy 2 bags this month. I only needed the bag for here. Um so I saved uh like $30 and managed to put it towards the videos. So, supplies for the videos. So yeah, there's that, and then I'm still using my video game money towards my videos too, my content. Um, but I knew I needed a yoga mat before I could actually do the yoga for you guys because 2 positions sitting down so far because I don't have the book yet for the specifically only sitting down positions. Um, I have to buy that. I don't have the money for it yet, but I do want to do the standing yoga anyway. Um, I knew I needed to get a yoga mat for you guys to be able to do those, and I wanted the drum for the meditation videos, and I needed more fidgets, and I needed more ball making supplies for the fidget videos. Um, so I kind of went nuts, and there was some other things that I needed that weren't for videos as well. How dare you fall, spoon? How dare you? Um, so there's that, and I also have a book that I've been reading that I want to start reading for the videos as well. And I want to point out before I start reading it, and I probably will point it out in that video once I get to that video too, um, that I don't 100% believe that positive thinking is like a miracle cure to your life. I do think it helps. It does help with my fibromyalgia when I think as positive as I can, as much as I can, because when you're stressed out, it puts you into flares and it makes your muscles tense up and causes more physical pain and and mentally it causes more flares because the mental trauma causes physical trauma with the fibromyalgia. So, um, like doing my best to think positively does both mentally and physically help me do better. But I do also, with all the things that I've been through, I do also know that it's not a miracle cure for your life because you do still need to be able to pay attention to and watch out for the negative people in your life or not even in your life but in general that just happen to pass through your life. You've got to watch out for sex offenders, you've got to watch out for thieves, you've got to watch out for people who say disrespectful and hurtful and negative things towards you that affect you mentally. There's so many things to look out for that thinking positively doesn't always help with. Um, you've got to be able to look for those red flags, and you've got to know the difference between a red flag and someone just walking on the sidewalk behind you, or somebody who just happens to be sitting next to you. There is a difference, and I've learned to be able to notice those signs, those red flags, the difference between someone just there and someone trying to creep on me. I've learned to be able to tell. But not everybody who's been through trauma can tell the difference. Some people who've been through trauma, have an automatic fear response, and it's not their fault. It's not. It's just what happens when you've been through trauma, and don't know how to control it or read the signs around you for what to be afraid of and what not to. It's a process you learn. Um, but so those people, like, someone sits down next to them or somebody's behind them on a sidewalk, and automatically they may feel completely terrified, and not really have a reason to feel terrified because that person may just be there. But like I said, it's a process. This happens when you first go through trauma. You've got to learn to be able to differentiate the difference between someone trying to creep on you and someone just there. Um, but like I said, you also need to learn, like, people who haven't been through trauma don't know the red flags to be able to tell if somebody's trying to creep on them or not. They see the see a person talking to them, and they don't even notice if they're hovering over them. You know, like like this is you, and they're like over you, like like they're trying to like own you by standing there. Like they're trying to bully you just by standing over you. Um, like that's a very big red flag right there. Reading between the lines of what people are saying, because people frequently will tell you that they're trying to creep on you without telling you they're trying to creep on you. Like, words and tone are a big one to pay attention to. And body language, not just the hovering, but trying to touch you, trying to scoot towards you, trying to stare at you in a weird way. Um, yes, Ash, I know, bud. I'm filming. Can you be quiet, sweet boy? Yeah. Okay. Um, like, there's so many red flags that people don't even notice that people are doing, and they figure because every time this one person seems to be polite to them when they're around, because they're not noticing the red flags, that there's nothing really wrong going on. But someone who's been through trauma and knows how to read the difference between someone just there and someone trying to creep on you, and being able to read those red flags, we will automatically pick up on every single one. Every red flag of body language, every red flag of tone, every red flag of wording, like everything. Everything. We notice it right away. And everybody else tells us we're crazy because we notice it. And then something happens and they're like, "Oh wow. Yeah, you called that." Yeah, I know I did. Cuz I pay attention. But anyway, but like I said, you know, this book that I'll be reading to you guys, it's helpful, I think, because it is good for you to think positive as much as you can when you can. But it is also very important to be able to pay attention to those red flags around you. And it's not just about people creeping on you either. There are red flags about people trying to rob you too, or red flags about people trying to judge you. Like this woman at the soup kitchen. I had like Monday. Somebody had brought in that putty stuff that you put on newspaper. You pull it off and it shows the words on there. I love that stuff. That stuff's cool. That staff member and I were actually talking about throwback fidgets. So that evening on Monday, I had gone through every single fidget toy container looking for all of my throwback fidgets. So Wednesday, when I came in, I pulled out a bag of my throwback fidgets from the 90s. I didn't get them in the 90s. I got most of them from the dollar store because they still sell those. And it's to show to the staff member who was getting all excited about it on Monday that I was discussing it with. I was super excited to discuss it with her, and I actually never got the chance because little Miss Rude Lady, who decided to terrorize me for being disabled and not having a job, took one look at the back of the throwback fidgets and goes, "Oh, it looks like my grandkid's toy box." Which is incredibly insulting to say to somebody with ADHD who needs fidget toys to put up with the fact that they're in a place where they already don't feel safe. And then you're gonna sit there and insult the thing that I'm using to try to feel safe, and then you're going to insult me for not having a job and being disabled, which all of those things made me feel so incredibly unsafe being there. I actually dreaded going back on Friday. I was in complete terror of going back on Friday. Thankfully, it worked out well, but I was terrified to go back on Friday. I didn't sleep the whole night before. I was actually shaking the whole time I got ready that morning, and I knew it wasn't my sugar because I knew why I was shaking. I knew I was afraid. Um, I was shaking the whole way there, and it wasn't the fact that it was raining. It was the fact that I was scared. Because I didn't want to deal with being harassed for being disabled again. I didn't want to go through it again. So, I mean, Friday turned out just fine. You know, just it was I was exhausted because it was raining and I didn't sleep all night. And Sam actually had to pick me up and take me home because he was actually already in town anyway. To get me home without passing out on the way home, because I was that exhausted. If he hadn't picked me up, I wouldn't have made it home. I drank an energy drink before he got there to try to make it home, and then after he dropped me off, I passed out, and then I drank a Mountain Dew after that, and then I passed out again. So, yeah, the energy drink didn't help. It didn't do anything. I was just that exhausted. And the reason I was that exhausted was because I was so, between the fact that I didn't sleep that night before, I was just so terrified of coming back because I was so afraid she was going to start in on me again. And it wore me out so much that the only thing I managed to do was stare at my book and pretend I was reading. The most of the time I was there. I tried to have a little bit of conversation, but you could tell I was tired. You could tell I was exhausted because my conversation was not nearly as exuberant as it normally is when I'm in there. So, you know, for those who don't mean to be judging and don't understand how hard it is for us disabled people, please be more mindful of what we deal with, how hard it is to just get up in the morning and get dressed, even, let alone get up, get dressed, go through the nightmare of taking care of the kids or animals in our house and walk all the way to the place we need to get to that makes us feel unsafe, just to have an extra meal during the week so we can afford to buy food. Yeah, please just be more mindful and more respectful and understanding of us. And those of us who are dealing with disabilities and those negative thoughts and feelings, please be more mindful and respectful and understanding of yourself and of other people with disabilities. Because I know some of us do it to each other too. Okay? So don't do that. Be as understanding and respectful and mindful of other people's disabilities and your own disabilities. You got to take care of yourself mentally and physically. That's why I'm here. To try to remind us. I'm not just reminding you, I'm reminding me too. I'm reminding each other. We're reminding everybody. Yeah. But anyway, I know this one has been a bit long, but I felt that it needed to be addressed, and I was very disappointed to find that I had accidentally deleted that video that I made previously about this. I think the fact that I was so very emotional in it probably really would have hit home with some people because I was very, very upset. I was I was crying. I was really crying. But like big time. I don't cry in front of people. I do my very best to never cry in front of people because it just affects me more. It makes it even harder on me because then I feel embarrassed and then I feel even more judged and then I feel like I'm being looked at like I'm a loser or pathetic because I can't control my emotions over what most people would consider as no big deal. To me, it's a big deal. To me, judging people for their disabilities and making them feel like shit for their disabilities is a big deal because we already feel like shit about our disabilities and we don't need other people making us feel even worse about it. So, guys, keep that in mind. Those of you who judge people for their disabilities now and those of us who judge ourselves for our own disabilities, keep that in mind. You know, take care of yourself and be respectful of yourself and of others. And I hope you guys like this video and please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.